Greetings, grown-ups, and welcome to another edition of the Independent Mail. I'm your favorite mail carrier, QT Dub. And today, we got a very, very special guest. We have an additional mail carrier for the day. Who is this mail carrier, you may wonder? Is it a spy? Is it a man of mystery? No. This is my homie, my compadre, seriously, my ace boom from way back at
this one time at band camp.
When
we all had a campfire.
Seriously, this is my bandmate, high school mate, Howard alum, Marine respect, okay? Harley Davidson, bike rider, financier, right? Seriously, this is my man, Michael Wright. He dropped by, holla at me for a minute, we're chopping it up. I asked him to come do a couple of things with me on the Independent Mail. He dropped by, I really appreciate it. It's my man Mike, show him some love on the Independent Mail for the day. How you doing, my brother?
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that great introduction there, but really, thanks for having me.
Of course, you know I gotta have, we got a cheers right quick, we got the cocktails. I'm representing that whole garden. I know you can't see it right now. I'm gonna have to put it on the screen for y'all asses.
Sipping on some Stella Artois.
And if y'all saw the thumbnail, you already know what today's topic is about. Today's topic, and Mr. Wright is unaware of it, so we're gonna get his reactions right off the dome. But today's topic is actually about voter fraud. Yes, voter fraud. You've been hearing about it for the past 24 months, unless you've been under a rock. You've been hearing voter fraud, 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 voter fraud. You've been hearing it. Georgia voter fraud, Pennsylvania voter fraud, Arizona, everywhere. So when I say the term voter fraud, what initially comes to your mind?
I can say this, right? I can say bullshit.
Yes.
All right, so it's straight up bullshit. So you got the law and order. We did the quotes from You got the law and order people that are all about, the powers that be are doing this to protect our vote, and you got all the Mexicans coming across that, and then the black people that vote 2 or 3 times. The real issues of voter fraud that were brought to litigation turned out to be all Republicans trying to vote twice for Trump. Dude out in fucking Nevada got caught voting for his mom. My mom would have wanted to vote for Trump, so I went ahead and did it. But then he went on TV. He went on TV to say, "Yeah, I don't know how my mom
Voted or
come on, man. It's like."
Alrighty. Really quickly, I want to give some perspective on your point of view and your frame of mind, if you don't mind. I mentioned in the intro that you're a Marine, right? So once a Marine, always a Marine.
Always.
Right? Birthday coming up in a couple of months. November, right? November 12th or 11th? Which one is it?
10th.
I was close, right? And the only reason I know is because it's right before my birthday.
Well, November 11th is Veterans Day.
The Veterans, okay, but the Marine's birthday is the 10th. Okay, all right. So, all right. So you know what I'm saying? It was funny is that I know you guys' birthday and I don't even know the Army's.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Neither do I.
See, I don't think anybody know. Anyway, but seriously, I wanted to give a little bit of your background because politically, not as a party, but ideologically, you tend to lean a little bit more liberal or more conservative, would you say?
Really more conservative. And conservative to say that it's more of a lifestyle set than it is anything else. Like, it's less government involvement in your life. Way more physical control over your family
outcomes and
everything. So I hate to put keep doing quotes.
Yeah, do that.
And stuff, but air quotes, the bootstraps.
Yes.
Of your own.
The reason I ask you that is because this show is the Independent Mail. So I ask you that because I try not to be biased as far as coming from one side or another, as far as whatever the topic is. In this case, it's voter fraud, right? So I wanted your opinion because I knew you have a conservative mindset. You know what I'm saying? We visited Saturday. We shared a lot of, a lot of things, and we have a lot of commonalities as far as having appreciation for a lot of conservative ideals. Maybe not the party overall, but a lot of the conservative ideals we have an appreciation for. I wanted to put that out there because I wanted to have the picture be shown that no, this isn't just what you would have if you just clicked onto this video. Oh, of course, it's two liberal black guys that are just saying that voter fraud doesn't exist and it's only with the Republican Party. No, that's not what it is. It's like you have a Marine, a biker, a conservative individual that happens to just be of darker skin tone, and you have an independent that actually, in most cases, leans more conservative than I do on liberal things. But this is where I'm going to pull some stuff up, and I'm going to have to say, when I knew you were coming and we were going to do this topic today, I do a little on this show. I do prep for it. Okay. On another show that we got, you'll be on that too, called Off the Dome. Because it's off the dome, there's no prep for it. So we just go in and we pick topics and we start going. So anyway, I actually wanted to look at what the documented cases of voter fraud that we saw, that I could find just really quickly. Because, unfortunately, I do have a day job and I can't do this right now all day long, but it's coming soon. So I was looking up some cases, and y'all know how we do. Even though I don't have my green screen, I'm still going to post these up on the screen on the edit, because y'all know how we do on the Independent Mail. We show all our sources, so I'm going to drop the links and everything to the videos or the articles that I post up top. But I'm going to share these with y'all. But right quick, I sent some articles to myself, and we're going to look at them very quickly, and I want to get your opinion on them. Because, to be honest, it changed how I thought I was going to talk about this particular topic. I was on the same thing as far as voter fraud, complete BS. After, I'm talking maybe 30 minutes. I don't know if I spent an entire 30 minutes. There's still an element of BS, but there's something to a little bit of this that I think some of the powers that be that you were referring to, they're capitalizing on. Okay. And I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. So here's the first one. Arizona woman pleads guilty in ballot collection operation. So you know what that's about, getting, ballots. Usually it's from elderly people or some other marginalized group that can't get to a place or whatever. So I saw Arizona, and I'm not gonna lie, I immediately was like, let me click this and see what Republican went and was harvesting, fucking ballots. So, and this particular story is everywhere. This lady, and I'm gonna mess it up, but it's Guillermina Fuentes, 66, gets probation for running what Arizona Attorney General's office investigators said was a sophisticated operation using her status as a well-known Democratic operative in the border city of San Luis. Is this a one-off? Probably so. Does this happen a lot? According to the data that I looked up, this doesn't happen a lot. But it has happened. And it wasn't a Republican. It was a Democrat. And where did she go do it? At a border city of San Luis. So what do we hear a lot of our far right getting in a big hoopla about when it comes to voter fraud?
Bringing Mexicans across the border to vote illegally.
And so I'm not saying that that's happened. But what I'm saying is these are the sorts of little truths that, because they exist, because somebody has done something that's not above board, that they're then able to use to in turn energize and monetize. So, and I guess my point was, prior to me doing just a little bit of investigation, I didn't think this existed with Democrats at all, and I'm not even gonna lie. And I'm like, that's to the people. I didn't think like every story that I had heard of actual ballot harvesting, like a dude in North Carolina where they had to do the entire election over again because they did that, it was a Republican. It was another time I saw it, it was a Republican. But the Dems are, so this is one case. It's 3 more of them in here. And so my point is, voter fraud does exist, and it's not, now, is it on the large scale that, a lot of the red hatters are doing? No.
In this woman's case right here, so she pled guilty, right?
Yes.
But in pleading guilty, what percentage of the vote did that actually?
And the thing is, and she pled guilty to just the harvesting. She didn't get charged for like actually changing ballots or anything, of that nature. But the point is just the fact that if there's anything out there for someone to seize upon and be like, look, I told you. Because, I guess my standpoint was that anytime anybody said anything about illegal voting and all of this stuff, I always was like BS, just like you. And then I started seeing some articles and it was just like, wait, what? So then you fast forward to this one here in Georgia, where, this one's about the 2020 Trump election stuff. Of course, this one's posed by a bunch of Republicans. Now, on this board that was comprised of Democrats and Republicans, they tossed out one of these many, Republican, especially here in the state of Georgia. Oh, it was fraud. It's been thrown out.
Okay.
So what I've been able to see is when you go through these, there is a little bit of voter fraud that isn't just the Republicans. This is a different one. This is San Antonio. When I looked this lady up, I had to go look her up separately. She also was tied to the Democratic Party. And so, arrested earlier this month. Following investigations stem from video that posted last fall by a group, Project Veritas. Let's see, the videos said it's shown Rodriguez taking part in voter harvesting leading up to last November's presidential election. So, and again, I'm only pulling up cases that actually where people were charged in court cases, not somebody said on Facebook they worked at a polling place and they saw somebody doing something. Not that. I'm only pulling up now. Granted, now if you do also remember, Trump and his attorneys had 400 and something voter fraud cases and none of them turned up anything.
But
like
if you also remember, Trump's attorney general also said that
the one that decided not to do anything with the Mueller investigation, that same guy said that there was no.
But also that same guy that is now also saying that some of the dumbest stuff imaginable that a former president can do and leave an office. And
literally what he said, and I quote, Bill Barr said, "You're saying it's unprecedented for FBI agents to search a president's home." He was like, what's unprecedented is for a president to take fucking classified documents to a resort in Florida.
Exactly.
That's what's unprecedented.
So that same guy also said that election, 2020 presidential election, was one of the most secure.
Oh, yeah. So this is my point out of that whole thing.
Okay.
I still hold the statistics. If you do your due diligence and you look it up, you will see voter fraud overall. When you start talking about typically in these elections, especially the national presidential election, typically about half the country participates. So there's 350 million people. Half of us to participate. So say like 170 million people. These voter fraud cases are like maybe in the hundreds, if that. So what I'm saying is a very small percentage. Now, this is the part that I found interesting and I wanted to get your opinion on. Because now in looking at this is what I see. I still don't believe that issues with voter fraud are 50-50, meaning that Democrats and Republicans do it at the same clip. From what I'm seeing, they don't. It's still the bulk of this happens, I think, from what I'm seeing, is on the Republican side. But let's say it is 50-50, right? Let's say it's even down the board that ain't cheating, ain't trying. Both of them are just trying their asses off, right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So let's say we adopt that. This is still the fundamental problem that I have with Republicans that say that they're trying to correct or root out or whatever voter fraud. Okay. You and I saw very quickly just going over these articles. There seems to be a specific weak point for quote unquote voter fraud, if there is one, right? In my opinion, it looks like it's collecting ballots for people that may not be able to get to polls or whatever. Right. Seniors, people that just got to the country, you know what I'm saying? Whatever groups like that.
There's nothing in the charges say anything about changing the vote or signing for whoever did the voting or anything about augmenting any kind of vote or anything like that.
So what I'm saying is, from what we can see though, it looks like that's the quote unquote vulnerable spots in the voter system. Okay. So here lies my problem with how some of the quote unquote modern kind of MAGA red hat Republicans are handling trying to correct the voter fraud issue. The policies that they've passed, particularly let's just look at the state of Georgia, most of them have nothing to do with the vulnerable spot. The vulnerable spot is collecting votes from people that can't get to a poll or vote by mail or whatever, right? That's the vulnerable spot. But that's not the stuff that they're attacking. What does Sunday voting have to do with this vulnerable spot? What does handing out food or water in a line where it takes somebody 5 hours to vote in this particular precinct, but only takes you 20 minutes to vote in Sandy Springs? What does that type of stuff have to do with this vulnerability spot with voter fraud and harvesting?
Of collecting ballots that were already placed in a box and delivering them to a collection point?
Yeah, what?
It doesn't seem like anything.
So, I'm trying to understand, because one thing I try not to do is to paint one party as a good guy and another party as a bad guy. So what I try to do is have at least maybe some people in the comments, or if I'm discussing, something with someone to try to help me understand. And I am seriously trying to understand how, as a party, you see where the quote unquote voter, if there's a space, where our voter system is vulnerable, why none of the policies have anything to do with that, and all of the policies seem to be geared towards getting rid of an electorate that you think is not going to vote for you.
So it's weird that question is kind of posed to me, because I'm like a conservative.
Oh no, but my thing is, I said we both sit on that side with this a little bit. I'm just wondering.
However, I look at problems, and my wife probably tell you really weirdly how I look at problems. I look at the solution to the problem as the problem, and the problem as something to help along. It's weird how I look at solutions. Okay, so I always try to find out where I need to shore up something. So So if I've got a hole in the fence and I've got the neighbor's cat getting through that hole in the fence, first thing I'm doing as opposed to first thing fixing the hole in the fence is letting the neighbor know this cat's coming in my yard. So if you take that in the context of actual trying to protect the vote, the first thing you would do is try to figure out why, if you've got a problem with a certain voter regiment that you're not capturing, that you want to try to not have vote. Maybe change your message a little bit.
See, now you're doing.
Worry about them not voting for you.
You're doing that hard. You're doing that hard shit. You're doing that hard. See, it's too hard. It's too hard trying to retweet our message and appeal to more people when we can just
I'm lazy.
Well, we could just try to cut them out of the vote.
My thing is, if I'm
no vote, no Sunday, Nick. Oh.
if I'm worried about my neighbor's cat or dog in my yard or my hole that I got in our mutual fucking fence, I'm talking to the neighbor about.
But see, it's interesting that you said that because what you were saying is the hard part. I feel what you're saying. You're like, well, try revamping a message that appeals to more people instead of.
The easy thing
It should be.
The easy thing to do is keep your dog in your fucking
It
house.
should be, but
The easy thing to do is to keep your cat in your goddamn yard. The easy thing to do is to change your message to be able to pick up the vote that you think you're missing, to be able to capture these people to make them a loyal part of your party or include them in your house.
And see, here's the funny part. Here's the funny part of what you said. Because
Hearts and minds first.
exactly. No, you're right. But the problem is you wonder, the said person that you're worried about voting against you, do you want them?
That's the other thing.
And the reason I ask this is because if you strip away social issues most of the times, right? And the social issue I mean is typically race issues, right? If you yeah, so if you strip away those items, the box of racial issues, right? If you were able to take those away and say they didn't exist, would you say that most African Americans on the ideological side lean more conservative or liberal?
In my opinion, because I'm black and shit, it could be that honest to God, if you broke the ideology down to its most basic form, honest to God, most black people now will probably vote more Republican than they would Democrat.
Well, or conservative. That's why I like to go with the ideals as opposed as the party. I agree.
The ideals of the party are, honest to God, basically what our parents taught us growing up. Be responsible for your shit.
I agree with you. That's why I say if you took and that's what goes back to what you were saying as far as the messaging, as far as appealing to a broader group, so you didn't have to try to eliminate them for the voting pool because you saw them as an asset.
Right.
That's what made me wonder, is like, well, do you even want that group there? Because a lot of that group actually believes in the core principles of what you expound if you remove that one aspect of it. Because see, this is now, and I don't mind this happening because I like these discussions of, like, no, we're not talking about voter fraud anymore, but we are talking about this political landscape, as a whole. Yeah.